From the director of Furious 7 comes a new Disney classic on Overdrive, Bambi. Starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Bambi.
When I was a boy, they took away my mother. Now it's time for them to pay. Dearly.
Welcome, computer-generated live entertainments, to Geek Salad episode 222. Is it live or is it a Disney remake? Where we are going to be putting the copyright symbol into CGI. I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Joe.
I'm Katherine.
And tonight we are back after a month's hiatus. Welcome back, guys. We are going to be talking about what we would like to see for Disney live-action remakes. Now, we put this out, and I'll go over the social media in a little bit, and a lot of the responses ended up being, I'd rather they didn't. Well, you can't keep that money train from not a-rolling. So you
You
might as
can't
well
keep
just...
them from making movies in order to maintain their rights to the copyright rather than having it become public domain.
True. So we're just going to steer into the skid and pretend like we want these things. Also,
Yeah.
I want to point out something that Mike and I just actually wrapped our retro review on Christopher Robin. And I think going forward, whenever anybody refers to any of the animation to whatever remakes or reimaginings, it's a genre now. It doesn't actually have to be live action, as evidenced by The Lion King, where there isn't a human being in sight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing there was made in a studio. It was all done in a computer.
Yep, exactly. But yet it looks more photorealistic.
Yeah.
So I do first off want to apologize. As I mentioned, it's been about a month since our last show. That is all on me. We are wrapping up with something rotten. So this has taken a lot more of my time than most shows usually take up. So we appreciate all of our followers and all of our listeners for being so cool and not bothering me like, hey, when's the next show going to be? Because the next show was originally going to be our discussion on the Disney afternoon. That was just going to take too damn long. So we are going to bring it back. We are going to do that later at some point in the not too distant future. So just rest assured, if you were waiting for that, it's coming. It just is going to be a few episodes from now.
It's going to happen, people.
Yep, exactly. So how's I feel like I haven't. Well, then again, I talked to a few of you a few weeks ago when I actually went to Disney with Mike. But how is everybody doing?
I'm alive.
Well, all right. Oh, the tumbleweeds rolling through that pause means I guess we're just moving to social media now, aren't we? Where I put the call out this morning to see what we would get for responses when I asked them, what would you like to see as your live action reimagining? So first off, we got Tom from Movies After Work, which is at Movies Work, who said, make a proper Chronicles of Prydian franchise, which, Joe, I believe you're going to talk about that in just a second after we hammer down on what Tom here has to say.
That one almost made my list as well.
Yep. I totally forgot about it. But I have thoughts, but I'm going to get into them in just a second. Treasure Planet, to give it a new life. No more princesses unless written and directed by a woman. Sword in the Stone, and give it to someone like Brad Bird to embrace the out there nature of it.
Yeah.
So, Joe, you actually brought up the Black Cauldron as one of yours.
Legend has it, there was once a king so cruel and so evil that the gods feared him. Since no prison could hold him, he was trapped forever in the form of a great black cauldron.
The Horned King, that black-hearted devil.
Walt Disney Pictures presents The Black Cauldron.
I did, and for good reason. The Black Cauldron really tends to fly under the radar in the Disney animation canon. It's in that weird in between period of the before the animation revival, but after. Well, I don't want to say the 70s glory days, but kind of Disney's kind of last hurrah. Disney animation was really kind of hanging by a thread at this time.
Right.
I mean, they released it in partnership with Silver Screen, Silver Screen partners. So it wasn't like a total Disney production.
Right.
Again, because Disney animation was on its last thread. They didn't have any hit. And this is sort of like, this is our last shot. We either got this or nothing. And it really kind of flies under the radar. Really didn't get a lot of critical, because it's also one of the Disney's darkest animation. Before the revival, really one of the darkest story-wise.
And I mean,
animated features.
And Joe, let's also not forget though, this movie almost killed the studio.
Yeah, it did, because one, Jeffrey Katzenberg at the time, when he saw the original ending, he's like, no, we can't, he was like, no, we can't do this. We're going to alienate our entire audience. And had to, had the animation studio completely cut it out, redo the ending, which added like a year and a half to the release schedule. And like Mike said, it nearly bankrupted the studio. However, because of that, because it flies under the radar, and it doesn't really kind of get the attention that other Disney animated movie do, it doesn't have that baggage that say Lion King has, or Little Mermaid, or any of the other Disney canon that's getting remade into quote unquote live action.
Yep.
Well, it's an opportunity to start a new franchise, based on an existing trilogy that really hasn't been done. We don't have movies based on that book series.
Right. So how would you do? So then, Joe, how would you do the Chronicles of Prydian?
That's a good question. Very much, I don't know. I mean, its darkness kind of leads itself to kind of a Game of Thrones feel.
Yeah.
But I would lean more towards the fantastical elements of it. And again, keeping it with kind of a Disney tends to be more fantastic than actual darkness. So I lean more maybe with Lord of the Rings, kind of a mix somewhere between Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, maybe a Chronicle, maybe a sprinkle of Chronicles of Narnia.
Right. See, here's what I'm thinking for this. I feel like the Chronicles of Prydian is what Disney Plus was made for. Because
it'd be perfect. It'd be actually good for a series.
Yeah. You take all 5 of the books, 8 just simple 8 episode, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour long portions. Honestly, the weakest of the books in terms of just overall storytelling is Terran Wanderer, and it's more because it's more character building than anything else. It's the 4th book out of 5. They could easily make a 5 season series out of this easily.
Yeah, and again, and this kind of goes into my, this being my first pick, but my other pick as well. This doesn't rely, because right now a lot of these Disney live action adaptations rely on the whole CGI thing. Like, it's photorealistic and it looks great and it's beautiful, and I have nothing against CGI as a as a philosophy or a concept. But with something like this, it's still you're gonna have real live actors on a sound stage, and you're gonna have CGI special effects and stuff like that. But the CGI isn't the thing that's telling the story. You're not using it's a live action movie or series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
While still maintaining those fantastical elements that you can use special effects and CGI for.
As of March of 2016, it has been reported that Walt Disney did reacquire the rights to the Chronicles of Prydain.
Oh, so yeah, I wouldn't surprise me if they they do something with it.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a perfect opportunity for a new franchise for Disney.
Yeah, and it's something to go up against, say, Wheel of Time.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So, what was the other one here? So, Tom brought up Treasure Planet.
Coming to theaters November 27th.
Mister, you okay in there, right?
Beware the cyborg.
This appears to be some kind of map.
This is the moment Jim Hawkins had always dreamed of.
Whoa, Treasure Planet.
Now, he's determined to go for it.
This is my chance to set things right. I don't want to lose you. Make you proud.
That one I had thought about, actually.
Okay.
But I didn't put it on my list because I've actually never seen the movie. I've heard decent things about it, actually.
It's unremarkable. That's the best thing to say about it. It's like there was an intention there, and it was the only reason why Musker and Clement directed The Little Mermaid was because they had this stupid idea to put Treasure Island into space. And like 20 years later, they finally got their wish, and it's a weird slog of animation and CG that aren't seamlessly blended. It's almost like when Disney Animation Studios was dabbling in CG for things like the Ballroom and Beauty and the Beast and certain aspects of Aladdin. It still kind of looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think just the story of Treasure Island is pretty cool, and I mean if you make it a space opera, it would certainly bring in a new audience to it.
Yeah,
it definitely lends itself pretty well to a sci-fi epic.
Yeah, and they're bringing an audience that wouldn't go see just a sword and a pirate ship, Pirates of the Caribbean type movie.
Well, you're right. That'd be the other thing. It's like, oh, great, this is Pirates of. I think people are kind of pirated out of the Caribbean out a little bit right now.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. It's just, again, it's just one of those things that it's okay. I got nothing else to watch, and it's on Disney Plus. Maybe I'll finally watch it. Maybe I'll also get around to watching Brother Bear finally. Probably not, but. So Tom brought up Sword in the Stone, but our good friend Dave McLean at McLean Dave also brought up Sword in the Stone.
And so did I.
You did too. Okay, yeah. So, and Dave mentions that you would also require the appropriate sequels of The Queen of Air and Darkness, The Ill-Made Night, and Candle in the Wind. Mike, all right. So this was one of your picks. So good choice. It was one of those ones that was kind of like on my honorable mentions of picks. So how would you agree with Tom that you would go with Brad Bird as your director, or have you given it any thought?
I hadn't really given too much thought. I think Brad Bird would be a good choice. I don't know if I'd go with him, but he would certainly be a solid choice.
Yeah. It's tough when you're picking directors. Like you and I talked about this earlier, is that other than, like Mark Forster for Robin, most directors don't get to use their own visual flair when making these movies. They're very heavily corporate. Just you're competent, do this.
Yeah, unless you're getting like someone like Tim Burton or something.
Right.
Now here's a question: how, in terms of style, will you keep it the same kind of irreverent as the original animation, or would you go more serious and hew more towards the Arthur legend?
I think you'd probably want to at least make it a little bit more serious.
But that's the thing. The thing that makes Sword of Stone kind of stand out from all the every other Arturian kind of form of entertainment is that it is kind of irreverent. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've had so much, self-serious King Arthur movies and TV shows and everything else like that.
I think,
especially recently, we just had the Green Knight. Then we had that whatever that Charlie Day movie was.
the Guy Ritchie one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm a Guy Ritchie fan, and that was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would keep most of the playfulness, but a little bit more seriousness would probably work better nowadays than it did back in the 70s for an animated movie.
Yeah.
The whole the wizard's duel between Mim and Merlin, that could be really, really awesome in live action.
Yep.
Seeing Mim turn into a dragon. And the whole a snake versus a rabbit thing, that could be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just but the whole Sir Ector and whatever the hell his son's name was.
Kay.
Huh? Kay.
Kai.
Yeah.
Kay. Kai.
Yeah, I mean I kind of want them to be made maybe a little bit more likable because they're just buffoons.
They made them buffoonery villains, which is just not their role.
Yeah. So
in the actual Arthurian legends.
Yeah, so make it keep some of the playfulness, especially with some of Merlin's lessons, but when you can try and add just a little bit more seriousness, just to make it play a little bit better for live action.
Mm. Well, the other thing too is that the original movie is 80 minutes long, not even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's barely over an hour. So there would obviously have to be filler, like we talked about with Beauty and the Beast. There's an hour of additional movie that wasn't in the animated movie. I don't know how the hell they managed to pull that off, but
yeah, I wouldn't add an hour to this movie,
right.
But go from 80 minutes to maybe 100 minutes, an hour and 40.
Yeah. Right. And if it does well, then you bring in the other. These are the books based. These are the E.B. White books, right? That's what Sword in the Stone is based on.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So yeah, and if it does well, then maybe you do that. You bring them out, or you make these are your Disney Plus. Okay, we're releasing these movies to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So, Dave also brought up the Book of Three, the Black Cauldron, as well. So, a lot of great minds thinking alike here.
Well, I think a lot of people just really want a good book of Chronicles of Prydain adaptation.
I agree.
Yeah,
and it's such a missed opportunity. The Black Cauldron, after having read, I just this last summer read all 5 books in the Chronicles of Prydain to my son. The Black Cauldron pissed me off so badly after that.
You see, I never read the books, but that movie was still not as great as I remembered it because Taran does absolutely nothing in this movie. His presence doesn't affect it at all.
Yeah.
But again, that's why it's such a great choice because again, the movie is so under the radar. People don't really know much about it. Except for
it's not that good.
Yeah, it's not that good.
Well, they don't have a lot of those who remember it don't have lots of memories of it and would like to if they liked it they would like to see it done better. The Warriors of the Cauldron could be so scary nowadays.
Oh yeah. The Cauldron-born? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean they were creepy enough as in the animated. That's terrifying.
Yeah, what I remember best of seeing this movie, other than a couple of things and reading one of the books, was watching a special on how they did it on television and them explaining how they made the sound effects of all the skeletons climbing up.
Plus, how cool would a live action Horn King look?
Right, well, the thing with the Horn King is he's barely in the book.
Yeah.
So that's that's the thing, is that they made the Horn King like the big bad of the entire movie. He's barely in it, and spoilers, is dispatched kind of off camera, if you will.
Well, that's one thing they could change, because come on, the Horn King was really, really cool.
Right, exactly. But but the thing is, he doesn't really tie that much into the overall arc of the Book of Three. So, but yeah, I think those are great. They're both of these, Sword in the Stone and Black Cauldron, are really great choices here. Let's move on. Unless, Mike, you have anything else to say about your picks for Sword in the Stone before we continue?
No. They would have to keep Archimedes so animated, though.
Well, yeah, it's not like they're going to make him Bubo from Clash of the Titans or anything.
Yeah.
All right, so next up, we've got Two Idiots and a Dog at TIAAD Media, who brings up Atlantis, El Dorado, and Treasure Planet. At least I think all three of those were dismal. All right.
El Dorado was not Disney.
El Dorado was DreamWorks. Honestly, I think it's a criminally underrated movie. But another story for another day.
But no, you know what? Atlantis is a criminally underrated movie.
And we're going to actually...
It does not get enough love, because it is actually a very good movie.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Now, we've all heard of the legend of Atlantis. Pure fantasy. Well, that is where you'd be wrong.
That young Thatch gets crazier every year.
I can prove Atlantis exists. I'm sure of it this time.
Milo James Thatch. I'm acting on behalf of my employer, who has a most intriguing proposition for you.
It's the Shepherd's Journal. This journal is the key to finding the lost continent of Atlantis.
They'll never believe you.
I will find Atlantis on my own. I mean, if I have to rent a rowboat.
This is exactly what I wanted to hear. But forget the rowboat, son. We'll travel in style.
It is? Okay, so not only did Two Idiots and a Dog bring that up, but Movies for Real at Movies for, the number 4, REEL pod, also brings up Atlantis, The Lost Empire, a classic Disney movie to me that seems to be forgotten. So let's bring back some of these movies that Disney, I think, is everyone's forgotten about. This was on my list because I don't know why the hell they decided to make it animated in the first place.
Well, they were riding high from their previous hits.
Right.
And at the time, Disney wasn't really considered a live action studio.
Yeah. And it was, but I mean, with this one though, it would have, I think it would have come out right before Pirates of the Caribbean, which I think really kind of like re-emboldened their live action division. Mm-hmm. It's too epic for a cartoon.
It's funny because you mentioned it's one of those movies where it's very good, but the people who love it absolutely love. It's like it's got a cult following, even though it's not one of the bigger name movies in the Disney animation canon. The people who love it absolutely love that film, and they will defend it till the day they die.
Yeah, well, there are defenders of Treasure Planet. And nobody's the defender of Brother Bear, but there are defenders of this movie, and it's that weird like sub dark age of the Disney animated movies where they weren't pulling in the money that they were pulling in previously. That golden age ended with Tarzan. Like that second golden age ended with Tarzan.
Yeah.
And it didn't come back until Tangled. So you've got like this spate of movies that just nobody was paying much heed to, especially when they started dipping their toes into CG through the Disney studio outside of Pixar.
Oh, come on. Surely you're not besmirching Chicken Little.
Oh my God, what a hateful movie that movie is. So, yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's been a while since I've actually seen Atlantis, even though it was kind of on my list. Again, it's more because I feel like in the hands of a capable filmmaker, it could look amazing and still keep a lot of the same aspects. Honestly, whoever they got to do Jungle Cruise could very well have pulled this off, because there's a lot of really cool set pieces in the Jungle Cruise that I feel would have worked. Even like the Mummy. Think about the Mummy. How great, like that, in terms of the first movie, the settings of that were, and turning that to Atlantis. That could be really cool. And when I mean the Mummy, I mean the '99 Brendan Fraser movie, not that piece of shit Tom Cruise thing.
Well, obviously.
You know who might be a good director?
That was ILM.
Who might be a good director for Atlantis would be Gore Verbinski.
Perhaps. Has he done anything since? It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Well, I mean, because I'm just going off of like Pirates, but Pirates that kind of feel would really, I think, really work for Atlantis.
Yeah, it could give it that majestic feel, but again, you need that otherworldly but still familiar look of Atlantis. Now, how this might not happen is because I have a feeling that in the next year we're probably going to be introduced to the Submariner in the MCU, and you don't really want to cross those streams.
Yeah.
There's been talk.
It would lead to a lot of confusion.
Yeah,
there's been talk about Submariner being in Black Panther 2 forever.
Right, but now that they don't have Chadwick Boseman, perhaps it's worth a. It's definitely something worth considering. So, all right. So let's talk about some of the other things on social media here. Hey, our good friend M from Verbal Diorama at Verbal Diorama. Hey, M. Asks, is none of them a viable option?
No.
And she does add to that. Just to add, I'm not just being facetious. Animation as a medium can't be replicated in live action. That's its superpower, and I feel like it's belittling animation as a medium when Disney remake animated movies into live action. The result is always inferior, not superior. You really won't get any argument from me on this.
Well, it's funny that she mentions that, because if you follow Star Wars Twitter in the last couple of weeks, which is an incessant hellhole of its own. There's actually kind of been an argument about people knocking the animated series, as not being real stories. Star Wars animation isn't a valid medium, and it's like, well, yeah, it is. Especially now with the news that Hayden Christensen binged the Clone Wars and Rebels just to prepare for Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
good for him.
So it's. I can kind of see M's point, and I agree with M's point. It's like, animation is a very valid medium. I can understand why you would feel like you're doing it a disservice by feeling that you have to remake it as a live action kind of film.
In most cases, I think an animated movie is superior because you can do whatever you can
way more with animation than you can with
the director of an animated movie has complete 100% control over what's going on the screen.
Right.
You don't always have that with live action.
And physics is a suggestion in animation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, when you get down to stuff, and she does brings up that some of the stuff that she does like, The Jungle Book and Pete's Dragon are both fun, but pretty much everything else has lacked for me because I'm such a fan of animated version that it could never live up to that level of brilliance. And I can definitely see that. I mean, something like the thing is, like, something like The Jungle Book, which I love both the animated and I actually really, really enjoy. I love the live action version of that. But they're almost two very different things. The first, the animated movie is just kind of like little snippets of different stories, where the live action decided to just go full bore, make one full story, like with the start and an end. But you get back to something like Beauty and the Beast, which added close to a damn fucking hour of additional slog to get through, and it just it's like, oh, what is the least creepy way that we can make all these household appliances come to life? There is no least creepy way.
No.
Don't worry, Emma Watson will still look bored.
Yeah. Oh God. It just, the face is moving. Why is the face moving? And when you really get down to it, and again, Mike and I just talked about this. Christopher Robin, I think, did it best because it's based on the property, but it's a follow-up where you still get the spirit of the characters in there without it being a complete reimagining of the one story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you, Em, for that. It was a great conversation because it led into somebody else here. So I'm watching this show at So I'm Watching said, for me, it's Cinderella. I never had a huge fondness for The Jungle Book anyway. I'm aware it's a great remake, but I also really don't care. The Cinderella remake, though, is top notch because they were curious whether or not they could do stuff. They could ask about movies that they would bring up that had already been done. I don't think I actually got that, though, but they did say that more often than not, we just feel like there's a lack to most of them. Like Aladdin feels like it was just filmed on the Universal backlot. There's no epic quality to it. And while we mostly enjoy Beauty and the Beast, there's similar issues with choreography and scope. That I think that the main issue is that the studios don't concern themselves with staffing the creative team with people who have a genuine fondness for the property. That is just whichever big name director they think would work. And 9 times out of 10, it's Rob Marshall who's not good at it. And they finish off with, they could have let Guy Ritchie. They could have let him Guy Ritchie it in terms of Aladdin because I don't get why they picked Guy Ritchie to do Aladdin. But it doesn't feel like his movie at all. If any Disney movie was going to be him, it would be Aladdin. But they neutered his style, so it ended up being boring and lacking in scope. I have so many thoughts.
I disagree with that, but sure.
Okay.
I do think there are a few scenes in the middle that do feel very Guy Ritchie-ish.
Okay.
But because I fucking love the Aladdin live action, I really do.
I just, the funny thing is, after I watched it, I'm like, yeah, it's not bad. I have no desire to watch it again. Like, I don't ever feel like I need to return to it. What about you guys? What about Joe, Catherine? What do you guys think?
I don't think I've seen any of the Disney live action remakes because they're all just we must maintain our control over these properties bids, and so I just haven't been inspired. Also, I got the full gamut of a live action remake watching many seasons of Once Upon a Time. So I'm kind of covered.
Okay, yeah, that's true. You get those versions of the stories as well. So all right, cool. So we got one more.
That was fun,
yep.
and yeah, that was fun and explored it in a more adult way in a lot of respects, which I enjoyed.
Right.
Well, Aladdin was more covered in Once Upon a Wonderland, wasn't it?
I didn't make it through all of Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
Oh God!
I was like, I'm done.
I forgot there were two different things. So.
Mm.
So, all right. And then we've got one more here, Being Bookish, a podcast, which is at being_bookish. Tough one. I'm not a huge fan of their previous attempts, and I'm living in dread of Moana, Little Mermaid, and Lilo and Stitch because they are amazing as they are. No argument there. No, I haven't heard whether or not about Moana or Lilo and Stitch. I know Little Mermaid is essentially in the can at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled with anything, but it's mainly I just kind of like have to sit back and laugh at people who are really upset that a fictitious type of species is being played by a black person. So,
right.
And Javier Bardem
about that.
Oh, is he? Oh, is he playing Triton?
He is.
So, all right. Yeah, sorry, but I don't know about Moana. I don't know about Lilo and Stitch. I wouldn't doubt at any point that they're going to be they're going to do those, but
I don't think they'll touch Moana, at least not anytime soon, because that's a fairly recent property. I think Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, that's still fresh. Moana's still fresh, so
Lilo and Stitch might have a higher chance, but the movie didn't blow people away. There's a lot of merchandising now, but the movie itself was not well received at the time. So
yeah,
it's really kind of
spoke to a lot of. It spoke to a lot of like family stuff, a lot like Encanto did, where it's like, it's a lot about the family situation rather than there being a big bad or anything.
Right.
But I think Moana, it's going to wait until, they A, need the copyright again, and B, the kids that grew up loving Moana and singing the songs endlessly are adults and want to take their kids to it.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
I don't know how much they need to worry about the copyright for that one, though, because they created the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's an original Disney story.
So.
Well, they the Little Mermaid is their own version of the story too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because it doesn't end as horribly.
I've never seen a version, an interpretation that went in that direction. It doesn't end as horribly. They have a big bad in Ursula.
Right.
Wasn't there an episode of Jim Henson's Storytellers about the Little Mermaid? It was more the original?
I don't think it was Jim Henson, the storyteller. They did a mermaid story, which was on Jim Henson Hour, but it wasn't the storyteller. But I don't think they did the Little Mermaid on the Storyteller.
Oh, okay.
There was another similar show that did Little Mermaid, and it had like, in order to give them like underwater hair effects, they were like blowing two giant fans from either side and having their hair stand up all over the place. So all the lines had to be looped. It was bad. I don't think that was the Storyteller.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because they were better at effects than that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, why don't we hit our list? Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
By the way, for helping guide our conversation for like the last 40 minutes. We appreciate that. So, yeah, who wants to get us started with one that we haven't yet covered? So, Mike, Joe, and I have already had one of ours covered already. So, Katherine, what's one of the movies you want to see remade?
I was thinking Pocahontas.
Okay.
I want to go, like they did with Mulan, where they stayed a little bit truer to the more traditional story. Although Pocahontas has actual, I won't say that
history. Pocahontas is actual history.
Yeah.
Mulan, some actual history behind it, but it has the story evolved so much over time. And I think I talked about this on a previous episode, but I would go like that. Don't have big song and show numbers. Just maybe evoke the music, and
make a Pocahontas 13.
Yeah, and don't whitewash the crap out of it. Don't make an anti-Semite your hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the last thing you need.
Yeah.
But that was one of mine, was to just
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, Pocahontas is one story that they're trying to sweep under the rug at the moment.
Yeah, and also it would give them a chance to tell the story, because I think Pocahontas is another one that, because it was not done well, they've kind of ignored. So bring it back and do it right.
Yeah. I'll buy that.
So it's I mean, it's weird to just how do you kind of sprinkle in the Disney magic, the fairy dust, if you will, to that story, because God knows it ain't a real happy story to begin with.
No, yeah. I don't know how you pull it off. I don't know how you would pull it off.
End it before it gets ugly.
Yeah.
Could, yeah.
Before it becomes really problematic.
Hey, it's all smooth sailing going forward.
Yeah.
It's all smooth sailing until John Smith whips out the trinkets.
Yeah.
Hey, you want some of your land?
Hey, you want some fire water?
And they could treat it like, there's some episodes of the Muppet Show that are available on Disney Plus, which have some problematic vaudeville elements in them, and just be like, look, this is what, we did then what we knew to do, and now that we know better, we try to do better. But let's not, ignore this story. We tried to make it pretty, and that was a mistake. So let's try to do it more honest and talk about how things could go better.
Nice. So, all right. Anything else on Pocahontas before we move on to somebody else, Catherine?
Nope.
Awesome. All right, Joe.
Yes. All right. From my second choice, I picked Tangled.
Ah, the kingdom. It is beautiful. Clapping, dancing, general merrymaking, not a care in the world. At least for most folks. See that handsome fellow running for his life? That is me. They just can't get my nose right. And that tower? Well, in that tower, there lived a girl who was just waiting for her life to begin. We really hit it off. How you doing?
That's an interesting one, and I'll tell you
because
why.
there is no.
Go for it. Sorry.
Well, I researched it a little bit, and there is no Rapunzel live-action movie. There was a European made-for-TV movie from 2009, but there is no live-action Rapunzel movie that I know of or that I could find.
Wow, really?
Yeah, not a full length. Like Rapunzel is one of the side stories in Into the Woods.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah, because if you really think about it, the story itself, there's not much there.
Right. That's why you make Tangled, because Tangled adds all that story.
Well, and don't forget, too, Tangled was originally the Flynn Rider story where Rapunzel is just kind of a character there.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting is usually when there's that discussion about the live action remakes, it ends at 2009. Everything else from Tangled forward, it's almost like they don't need to do that because the CG got really, really good. I mean, yes, all the people still have those enormous eyes and weird proportions, but
if you're a fan of anime, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah. It's partly because of the resurgence of manga in the United States.
Yeah. But go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
No, but again, I think it's got a lot again because Tangled did such a good job of fleshing out the Rapunzel story. There's a good base there for a good live action caper / rom-com type thing.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about how it would work. I think whoever they cast as Mother Gothel will be amazing. Just because I feel like that's such it's the role of scene stealing in the animated. So I really think that they would find
just keep her.
Just keep. Yeah.
They could. Yeah, they could still use Donna Murphy. They could use Phoebe Newworth. I don't think she's done anything with Disney yet.
Just look to Broadway for that one because you really want a professional Broadway actress for that role.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Dina Menzel.
She could do that. Yep, she's getting to that point too, where she could be doing that.
That would be
who would your dream casting be for Flynn Rider?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I love Zachary Levi in the role. I know we have to go with a young person, but he was so good. Yeah,
it is hard.
Tangled's one of my favorites, so I'm kind of like, leave it alone. It's perfect as it is. We don't need to do it again. I own it. I just want to watch it again.
I was late to the party for Tangled, but when I did see it, I'm like, wow, this is an amazing movie.
Yeah, it really is. It really is a good.
Which is a shame because it gets overshadowed by Frozen.
Yeah.
Well,
it
yeah.
really does. It
But
absolutely
everything
does.
gets real overshadowed by Frozen.
No, and honestly, if I was to pick between the two, I would pick Tangled over Frozen.
Right.
Well, you probably
But
were overexposed to Frozen, but honestly, yeah, I'd have a hard time. I think it would depend on what mood I was in.
I think I'd pick Tangled over Frozen, but I think I'd pick Frozen 2 over Tangled.
Interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Tangled 2, Frozen 2.
So yeah, that's my second choice. I think Tangled would make a good basis for a live action film.
Nice. Nice. All right, Mike, what do you got? Because
my last one, kind of a tip of the hat to Jonna, because I know she loves this movie. I'm ambivalent about it. Is Meet the Robinsons.
Everyone on this planet has a dream. The question is how far you're willing to go to make it come true. Take Lewis, for example.
All right, Lewis, knock him dead. That was a figure of speech. Please don't kill anyone.
All his life, Lewis's dream was to find the family he never knew.
I know they're out there.
But the funny thing about chasing dreams is that no one can do it on their own.
What are you doing up here? Desperate times call for desperate measures.
And the journey will always take you places you never imagined.
What is this? Where are we going? To the future!
Yeah, what is the deal with Meet the Robinsons? Because I watched it and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Oh, look, Space Mountain. What the hell is going on?
Basically, you get this orphan named Lewis, who, after he completely blows his science fair because he's like a super genius, but something goes wrong. This kid from the future grabs him and takes him to the future, and he meets the kid's like really bonkers family, and it's pretty. I mean, there's a big twist, but I saw the big twist coming like from like 20 minutes into the movie.
Yeah,
so it's not that big of a twist. Lewis is actually
you see it a mile away. You see it a mile away.
Lewis is actually the patriarch of the family, and all these are his inventions and stuff like that. But I think by making it live action, like there are a lot of really interesting sequences, especially like when Lewis goes to like a post-apocalyptic future where like this hat drone is kind of controlling everybody. I think it could be a really interesting, really amazing looking set piece, and there are just a lot of. I think there are a lot of questionable issues with the movie that, well, not like those kind of issues, but just problems with the movie that I think you could fix if you made it live action. Plus, having a giant CG dinosaur walk around and talking would be pretty fun.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest issues I had with the animated Meet the Robinsons is that the animation's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The animation is just, it doesn't look like Disney animation. I mean, same thing with Chicken Little, quite honestly.
Yeah. This is
ugly animation. It's before.
Yeah, this is like early CGs of theirs.
This is when they're trying to recreate the Pixar magic and failing miserably.
Yeah. I can't say too much bad about it because Jonna absolutely loves this movie.
Right.
It's just she showed it to me and I was like, okay. I'm glad you like it.
Right.
Sorry.
Hey, you know what? The things you do for love. It's just, you put up with that. I'm still watching Outlander, so it's just.
But I think there is a good story there, and I think if you could fix some of the issues with live action, and I think it'd be a really visually, especially when they go to that utopian future.
Yeah,
I think it could be a visually stunning movie. and having like the singing frogs would be kind of fun too as well.
Yeah, it could be cool, and it could honestly be what Tomorrowland wanted to be.
Yeah, and you could fix also what the biggest issue I had was he spent the entire movie wanting to meet his mother, and spoiler, at the end he decides not to meet his mother because he wants to look forward, not back. But I'm like, just have him fucking meet his mother because he's been talking about it since the very first scene. Motherfuckers.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like Ian never meeting his father and Onward,
Yeah.
Well, but it makes sense because he I was going to say Onward. It's like no. You want the kid that grew up with the dad to talk to the father, whereas the younger brother never really knew him. His older brother is his father figure.
Yeah,
he's got one. He's good.
Yeah,
for the short amount of time. Yeah.
Meet the Robinsons. It pissed the hell out of me.
Wow.
Sorry.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take the baton then, so Mike doesn't like burst of blood vessel or anything.
Well, I gotta hold it back because again, John loves it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna my final pick is Hercules.
Our story begins eons ago.
Hit it, ladies!
And when the world was new,
The end is coming!
the planet Earth was down on its luck.
Oh, we're in trouble!
And everywhere gigantic brutes called Titans ran amok.
What you folks need is a hero.
Yeah? And who are you?
I happen to be a hero.
Disney Pictures presents
Who was the gladiator?
Why does that name ring a bell? I don't know. Maybe we owe him money?
He's the strongest man on Earth.
Aren't you a damsel in distress?
I can handle this. Have a nice day.
Which
I thought about this one too.
I think this one is kind of like it's in the works. And well, so first of all, to address the Hades thing, because nobody wants James Woods back. Unless you were completely unaware what a piece of sewage he actually is.
Yeah.
Nobody wants James Woods back. Oh God,
No. We were talking about the casting, and over at my place, we have agreed that Greg German did a great job in Once Upon a Time. Let's do him.
Okay. Well, I was actually going to go with Willem Dafoe.
Oh
That would
God,
also
yeah,
work. We'd take him.
Willem Dafoe definitely work.
Yep. And you know what? He's had like 35 years to be problematic, and he hasn't been. So good for him. So
who would have thought?
I would definitely go with him, with Willem Dafoe as Hades. I don't care who plays Hercules, quite honestly. You know that
you just need a himbo.
If they can't get Danny DeVito back to even just voice Phil, I honestly could see Peter Dinklage doing it, at least providing the voice. I'm not sure where he stands right now with Disney because of the whole Snow White thing. But I feel like Pain and Panic, honestly, John Mulaney and Nick Kroll, just the two of them.
Yeah.
As Pain and Panic. And Megara, don't really care. I'm sure we could find somebody who fits that Aubrey Plaza type of mode for the,
Personally, you know what? Zendaya.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think Zendaya can pull it off as Megara.
She can still do Snarktastic, which is fine. So I feel like I just want to see like a really good representation of Greek mythology as actual Greek mythology, not like kind of like how they do it with Percy Jackson, where they're still kind of like they're just like contemporary people just living in this time, but they're the gods.
Actually, kind of speaking about that, I had some thoughts on a live action Hercules, and that I think you should make the villain Zeus, because let's face it, in any mythological story, Zeus is an asshole.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah.
He's a horny asshole.
Yeah,
right.
So
yeah,
a lot of the problem in Greek mythology is due to him not being able to keep it in his pants.
Exactly.
Hades is just doing his job. Hades is just doing the work. Zeus is the villain of the story. So
right.
Switch it to Hercules has got to go against Zeus and try and make him to be a better person.
So
that would be cool.
You know what,
Mike?
you know what you want? You want a God of War movie is what you want.
No, not really, because I've played those games and they're boring.
No. What's that game you recommended, Mike? That my husband had such a good time on.
Yes.
Phoenix Rising.
Yes.
That's the story where Zeus. Yes, yeah. Part of the plot is all of the gods dealing with the fact that Zeus was an asshole, and Zeus listening to the story that Prometheus is telling, going, "God, what are they complaining about?" And eventually coming around to, "I'm not a good dad."
Yeah, I'm a dick, aren't I?
Yeah. So yeah, that would be
take the Hercules story in that way and make it actually legitimate to mythology, and that Zeus is the asshole.
Yeah.
And Hera too.
Yeah.
A lot of Hercules' problems are because Hera was pissed off at Zeus.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the solution to the Hercules movie is that he has to get them to reconcile.
Right.
Well, they did that kind of on the TV series of Hercules: The Legendary Journey.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about Kevin.
We don't talk about Kevin Sorbo. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, exactly.
We don't talk about Sorbo. No.
Oh man. So yeah, that's really all I had to say about Hercules. Hercules for me is top 10 animated. So I'd love to see something. I know that they're doing it at some point, but
I can't wait to see what they do with Hydra and Cerberus.
Well, I'm sure that the CG will look better than it did when they tried to implement it into the hand-drawn animated movie, because those were both CG and they looked kind of lousy.
Cerberus looked better than the Hydra.
The Hydra looked like shit. Oh my god, that thing looked awful.
Well, hey, we did get an animated Cerberus in Encanto as well.
That's right, we did. Good lord, I only saw Encanto the one time, so I think my son's been watching viewings of it just because he knows it just drives us nuts.
Good for him.
So, all right, Katherine, you get the last pick.
All right. The other movie I was going to suggest was Emperor's New Groove.
Long ago, in a faraway land, there was a prosperous kingdom ruled by a young emperor.
Ha! Boom, baby!
He had a serious attitude.
You threw off my groove.
I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
Sorry.
An evil advisor.
By the way, you're fired.
I'll take over and rule the Empire.
And one major problem.
I'll just poison him with this.
Hey, Kronk, can you top me off, pal? Be a friend?
A llama? He's supposed to be dead!
Yeah, weird.
One of my sacred cows that should never be remade, but go for it. Go ahead.
Go tell Andy how he's wrong.
I just, it could be really fun, and we were playing around with some of the casting options, because one of the things is it's set where? In South America.
Yep.
Yeah. And what color are all the actors?
That's true.
Yeah.
They all need to be kind of,
Yeah, so I was thinking we need to redo it and not whitewash the hell out of it. So, like, Yzma, I've already picked Selma Hayek.
Ooh. I like that. Okay,
like that
all right.
a lot.
Now you're winning me over. Okay, no, you're selling me on this now. Yeah, I like that a lot. Selma Hayek?
Who is the Emperor?
I don't know, because originally I was thinking Timothée Chalamet, but I'm like, no.
Yeah, but Timothée Chalamet doesn't have that kind of.
Have you seen Don't Look Up?
No.
Okay, yeah. If you've only seen him in like Dune and other stuff, if you haven't seen him in Don't Look Up, then you can't judge yet. But
Actually,
no, I don't think he's going to be Cusco. I think we need somebody else. I just don't know who, like a young John Leguizamo kind of thing.
Ooh, yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
And then for Kronk, I was originally thinking like Jason Momoa, and then I was like, ooh, instead of making him big and beefy, let's go in a different direction and get Rey Mysterio.
Actually,
I would never, because Rey Mysterio's got like a really high voice.
Yeah.
Cusco's poison, Cusco.
Actually, Catherine, after I saw your text, I was like, I was thinking about that. I'm like, it'd be a really kind of outside his wheelhouse, but I would love to see The Rock play Kronk.
That would work.
I was like, Jason Moore or The Rock. Yep, either of them would great. Yeah, either of them would be really good because they can both do funny.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking Pedro Pascal as Pacha.
Oh God, yeah, yep.
Oh yeah, I'd like that.
With you.
Oh yeah.
Yep. All right. Congratulations, you sold us on it. I mean, the thing is that I adore The Emperor's New Groove.
That is like one of my top 5 Disney animated movies.
Yes.
I had never seen it, and my husband showed it to me, and I'm like, this is quite good. So it was one of the ones when you guys were naming your other movies. I'm like, what can I pick that's outside the main line? And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And then I was casting it in my head, and that's where it really started to work.
Yeah. I love The Emperor's New Groove, but I don't have the love for it that you two do. So I think live action one of that could be really fun.
Yeah, as long as they keep the wit, because the thing about it is that the Emperor's New Groove is very tidy because it's very fast and very, very snappy.
Yeah.
And a lot of the gags are visual gags. I feel like you still need to have the squirrels in there. Kronk needs to be able to speak squirrel.
Yeah.
Even the gag with the map, where they're showing like the trail, and then they show Kronk and Yzma, and he's looking down, and they're stepping on the other trail. I want those kinds of things there.
Yeah, but yeah, like we know Salma Hayek can sell a good joke and all that, so she can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm just shy of, and it's because I don't know enough young actors that I can't figure out who ought to be Cusco.
Right. So yeah, I like that idea. Congratulations, you won me over. So
and throwing way back to the beginning of the episode, so we didn't talk much about casting for some of the earlier things we talked about, and I do have an idea for Gurgly in Black Cauldron.
Oh, Gurgi? Okay, yep.
Gurgi. Yeah, because everybody's going to go, it's like, oh, it's going to be a CGI character, though, so we need Andy Serkis. And I was like, no. Sean Gunn.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because, honestly, the way that Gurgi is described in the book isn't a cute, fuzzy little thing. He's actually just a tall, hairy thing, kind of like the Weasel in the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Yeah.
And and Sean Gunn, like having seen him, you've seen him perform without a costume, but he's also the stand-in for Rocket.
Yeah.
Yes.
And before we move on, when my dream casting for Emperor's New Groove for Pacha, Luis Guzman.
I was thinking about that.
It could work.
Perfect.
I feel like you still need someone a little younger than Luis Guzman, though.
I don't know. I think he could work because he kind of have he kind of gives that kind of world weary kind of like, really, you're going to do this to my village? I've been here all my life, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've seen Pedro Pascal be like a fatherly figure, being like, no, give me the ball.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a small role, but I wonder who you'd cast as Pacha's wife. Because that's a small but important role.
Yeah.
Mm.
This conversation is just making me realize I really don't know a whole lot of actors anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Anybody else have any other thoughts on on the topic before we wrap up?
No.
Pretty much covered all the movies I thought.
Yeah, exactly. How about you, Catherine? You good?
I'm good.
Awesome. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. I had a great time talking about this. Let's hope that no one's picks ever come true, and that they stop this foolish venture. So next episode, it's coming up that time. It's almost May the 4th. Be with you.
Here we go.
Which means it is time for our annual Star Wars riff. This year, we are going to be doing episode 2, Attack of the Clones, which, in my opinion, is the worst Star Wars movie. So
I agree.
Oh, buckle up. Can we do this on a day where I don't have to work the next day?
Buckle up, Buttercup. We can try.
I will be drinking.
Yeah.
I don't drink, and I may be drinking.
Yeah, we have to get it done before May the 4th, and I have performances both the next 2 weekends, so it's going to be.
I hate sand.
Yeah, it gets it's coarse and it gets everywhere.
Actually, I actually do hate sand, so
yeah. There you go.
I don't mind visiting it, but I'm not going to Burning Man anytime soon. Let me tell you.
All right, Anna.
No, that's the third movie.
So we're going to be riffing that. Always a fun time, and then we'll be getting to the Disney afternoon at some point very, very soon. Yes. There's a few other ideas we got tumbling around in the dryer. So we will figure that out. So, folks, thank you for listening. If you are new to the show, thank you. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts. If this just kind of happened on your feed or you're on Twitter or whatever. By the way, if you're following us on Twitter, or if you're not following us on Twitter, you can follow us on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio. We're also on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. Check us out on our TeePublic store, which is Geek Salad Podcast as the keyword. I think I've got everything going there. Oh, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Geek Salad Podcast, where we get weekly movie reviews. As I just mentioned, Mike and I just did our review of Christopher Robin. And by the time this episode probably comes out, we'll have Cruella already done. So, yeah. Well, guys, thanks so much for being so accommodating, getting a quick episode out, so at least we could say we did something in the month of April. The show is almost over. So, anyway, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Joe.
I'm Katherine.
Go forth and be nerdful. We'll talk to you later and have a magical day.
Bye.
Bye.
When you see them, give me a sign. Here's the sign. Fear crossing mother.
Bambi, featuring the new single from Ludacris, Wham Bam Bambi.
Wham!